Hello, welcome to the DHL CVG webinar. Thank you for taking a few minutes of your free time to join us in this discussion about how you can do better at DHL CVG as Teamsters, like thousands of your coworkers nationwide and the pilots that fly each and every day. We have put together a panel of workers from CVG and 4 stations across the country that are represented by the Teamsters to discuss the topics and issues that are driving your campaign. To compare and contrast the difference between working for DHL at CVG and your non-union at-will experience and the Teamster represented world that thousands of DHL workers thrive in. We hope that you will participate by submitting your questions and comments in the Q&A below for the panelists to discuss. But before we introduce the panelists to you, please take a minute to watch a message from Teamster General President Sean O'Brien.
I'm Sean O'Brien, General President of the Teamsters Union. I want to congratulate all the CVG workers out there taking control of your future at DHL. You're standing with the Teamsters now, and the Teamsters stand with you. Soon, CVG workers will have the chance to join with thousands of DHL workers nationwide who already work under a strong union contract. In 2021, DHL had its most successful year ever. Revenue increased by 25% to $20 billion. The U.S. was DHL's fastest growing geographic segment. With growth like this, workers must share in its success. CVG is the nerve center of DHL in America. Your work is the one thing that makes this company so much money. They grow richer because you work harder. It's time to put more of those profits back in your pocket. Thousands of DHL workers are living better lives and making more money under a Teamster contract. This summer, we negotiated the most lucrative DHL contract in Teamster history. We fought hard and won big. Because of this, DHL Teamsters have strong health care benefits, retirement security, fair work rules, protection from unjust retaliation, respect on the job. When you form your union with Local 100, you can win big too. CVG workers will never regret joining the Teamsters. I promise you that. And don't forget, it's your right to join a union. It's illegal for the company to retaliate against workers for trying to organize. Stand strong, hold the line, and encourage your coworkers to vote. Let DHL know you're willing to fight for a louder voice and a better life. The Teamsters will have your back, all 1.2 million of us.
All right, so I just want to take a minute to go around and introduce the panelists that you will be asking questions of and who are going to be responding to your questions. So I want to start with the CVG volunteers first. Tim Holland.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Say my name and everything?
Yes, please.
All right, I'm Tim Holland. I'm a third shift tug driver at CVG for DHL. I've got 35 years union experience. We just need to come together as one so we can do better, like the 6,000 other DHL employees across the United States.
Thank you, brother. Garrett Schwing.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Garrett Schwing. I'm an employee of DHL of 5 years. Currently work on the domestic AM side of the ramp. And it's my pleasure to be here and help represent the voice of my other coworkers and hopefully future Teamsters. Glad to be here.
Thank you, brother. Stephen Fightmaster.
Hey everyone, my name is Stephen Fightmaster. I'm a crew lead for the domestic ramp on third shift at CVG. Been there about 1.5 years. Before that, I was in a union for 7 years, and my father was a Teamster for 40.
Excellent. Tina Bitter. You're muted, Tina. While you're fixing that, I'm gonna call on Ryan Doyen. Ryan, we need to see your camera too, brother.
Unfortunately, I don't have a camera tonight, but I'm Ryan Doyen. I am a former supervisor at CVG, and I am now a crew lead for domestic. Unfortunately, I am a floating lead, and I've been there for 4 years.
Thank you, brother. Tina, I see you got it fixed. Do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I am Tina Bitter. I am in sort in building 2, and I've been with the teams. Well, I was with Teamsters for 20 years at my other job.
Excellent. Thank you for joining us. Tony Baxley, some of you may recognize him from CV2.
Hey everybody, I'm Tony. I'm a DHL courier and FFT, part of the local 100 Teamsters, and I have been for 7 years now.
Thank you for joining us. You also might recognize Freddie Torres.
Good evening, everybody. Freddie Torres out of PHL, DHL. I've been with DHL for 5 years now, and I'm a 22-year Teamster.
Outstanding. Ed Brown.
My name is Ed Brown. I've been with DHL for about 22 years. I am what they known as the lead load master for the international flights outbound.
Thank you for joining us, brother. And Amanda Smith.
Hi, my name's Amanda. I am a steward out of both COP and DAL here in Texas. I have been with DHL for 8 years, but I am a third generation contract worker out of Local 745.
Outstanding. Thank you all for participating tonight. Bill, if I can real fast, can you please put up the map with all the push pins of all the places where Teamsters are represented at DHL in North America? This is just to show you just how many Teamsters there are out there. You keep hearing us say there are over 6,000 nationwide. This is where they all are. This is where they all live. Thank you, Bill. If you can take that down, please. So just quick housekeeping. In order to ask a question, if you look all the way down at the bottom, if you scroll on your screen, you will see a toolbar and there will be a little spot that says Q&A. That is where you will populate your questions. What I'm going to do is just, for example, say we have a question from Ray who works on First Ramp. If you don't want your name out there, just put ANON at the end of your question so we will know that you would like to remain anonymous. But please understand, as you heard General President Sean O'Brien say, you have no fear of retaliation here. It is illegal, and we do have a neutrality agreement that has been in the contract for years with DHL. Bill, can I ask you to put that up real fast? It's on the next page down, brother. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. No, you had it. So it's the second paragraph down. And as you can plainly see, DHL has entered in this agreement. Basically, what this is saying is if any group of non-union workers, i.e. workers at DHL CVG, decide they want to join the Teamsters, DHL will stay hands-free in it. The employer shall remain neutral and not engage in, sponsor, or support any anti-union or vote no activities. Additionally, the parties will not engage in any personal attacks against union or company representatives or defame the union or company as institutions as a part of any such organizing campaign. Thank you, Bill. So as such, there will be no name dropping tonight. Let's talk about what's important to you and why it is you're forming your union. So while we're waiting on some questions to start coming in, we have a couple here we're just going to start with because this is what most folks have been talking to us about since we've been organizing for the last few months. For any of the panelists, are DHL workers at CV2 really making over $35 an hour like we've seen in that pamphlet?
Yes.
Yes. And how long does it take for DHL Teamsters to get to top pay?
My contract is 2 years.
2 years. Is that the same for everyone?
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yes, sir.
So silly question. Do you still get raises after you reach top scale?
Yes.
And you get those raises on April 1st of every year?
Every year.
April 1st.
Which is the anniversary of this contract. And by the way, these workers all know exactly how much their raises are going to be from now until April 1st of 2026. Is that fact?
Fact.
Yes, sir.
So at the end of this current contract, you will all be around $40 an hour?
Yes, sir.
Is it rubbing in?
No, this is not to rub it in. This is fact. This is correct. Yes.
Yes.
This is why we ask these workers to join in the call here, because we've heard from so many folks when they actually see the handouts that we put out there with the comparisons, this is too good to be true. This is not too good to be true. These workers live this every day of their lives with their families. So if we don't have any questions or comments about pay for right now, and by the way, you can always circle back to any topic that we talk about here tonight. I want to move on for a second and talk about healthcare costs, because the workers at CVG are going through open enrollment this month. Is that correct?
Yes.
For any of the CVG workers here, did your healthcare costs go up during open enrollment?
I selected a different plan. I will be paying more.
You will be paying more.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Did you have a say in that?
Yeah, I went from the choice to the select.
Gotcha. I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean to cut you off.
My healthcare premiums are going to cost roughly 10% of my yearly income.
Ouch. Yeah, I did a little comparison with one of your coworkers from CVG, and his own healthcare cost went up by 16% in open enrollment. So my question for all of the DHL Teamsters on this call, how much did your healthcare go up in open enrollment this year?
0.
Was that 0, Freddie?
Yes, it was 0.
Amanda, I'm sorry, you have to speak because otherwise you don't come up on the screen for everybody else. How much did yours go up?
0. I just
0.
pay my union dues and show up to work.
Same.
Ed, I'm going to assume you don't pay out of your pocket for healthcare costs every month either at LA? You're muted, by the way, brother.
Gotcha. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, yeah, it really depends on what plan you're doing. So, I mean, what plan you're choosing will either go up or stay the same. So, just to name a few, I mean, if you're doing Blue Cross or Kaiser or whoever it is, Kaiser, of course, goes up. Blue Cross could be in the middle, or whoever else you're choosing, it stays below.
And you get to bargain for your health care, correct?
Yes, you get to choose. Yes, you do.
Do have a question here from a worker, and this is a very good one. This is coming from Chris in the sort. Will CVG workers have the same pay at $35 an hour? The quick and easy answer is, are you willing to stand up and fight that hard? Because right now that would be taking people at the bottom up $15 an hour. Typically in a first contract, I would say no. But you have to wait until you get to the bargaining table. You have to understand these union workers here have been under contract for years, some of them for decades, but let's start working towards that. And I want you to think for a quick second, and I'm talking too much, for the CVG workers here that do buy their health insurance through DHL, do you also have to pay that $1 an hour surcharge to buy your insurance?
Yes, unfortunately.
That's part of the deal you accept, yes.
Yes. So on top of what you pay every month, you also pay an additional $160 a month just for the privilege of buying health insurance at DHL CVG. So in your first contract, if you can at least make that $1 an hour surcharge go away, that's $160 a month raise for you right there.
Yeah.
But understand this. Everything under the sun is negotiable at DHL CVG when you get to the table. So are you going to get to $35 an hour in the first contract? Probably not. He also has a second part to that question. Do we have to wait 2 years to get to the increase, or is it immediate? Well, you're kind of combining two issues here, because the 2 years that we referenced in the question is the actual pay scale that all of these workers, or when a new hire comes into their station, they come in at 80% of top out. Every 6 months, they get a 5% increase to where on their second anniversary, they are fully topped out. And that is something at DHL CVG you can absolutely bargain to get into your contract. Excellent questions, brother. Keep them coming. So, and I apologize, I'm going to be bouncing back and forth a little bit here. For the workers at CVG, since you just had your healthcare costs go up in November, did you get a raise in October?
No.
No. I thought workers at DHL CVG got either a 40 or 45-cent raise every April and October.
They
Well, when
wrapped it in.
Go ahead, Ryan.
They wrapped it in with the $3 pay increase from previous, when it's not supposed to work that way.
Interesting. And the reason I wanted to bring that up is because without a contract, DHL giveth and DHL taketh away. So the $3 an hour that you got because your coworkers are working to organize is being taken away. Because as the worker that I was talking about a minute ago, with his 16% increase in healthcare, that came out to 67 cents an hour. And he also did not get his raise in October. So what is that $3 an hour raise worth now? Pose a question to you, Freddie from PHL.
Yes.
Your pay raises every April 1st are locked in stone in that contract, correct?
Yes, they are.
I'm sorry, Amanda from Dallas. You're paying $0 out of pocket for healthcare every month. Is that locked in concrete in a legally binding contract between your workers and DHL?
Yes, that is locked in the contract. We have 3, but it is within our national master and our local rider. All we have to do is show up 2 days or get paid for 2 days a week, and we keep insurance. So it's your call. Either you use vacation, sick, or whatever, but you get your insurance either way.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm hoping everybody is starting to see the obvious differences between having a contract and not having a contract. Before we move away from money issues, I just want to talk about one that should be important to everyone, and that is your retirement. Is it possible to have both a pension and a 401k at DHL?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that is a yes from all of the union represented DHL workers.
Yes.
Because unfortunately, there are a lot of rumors going on out there at CVG that folks are going to lose their 401k, or folks are going to lose their lead pay if they form a union. Anyone from CVG want to throw out a quick response to those kind of talking points?
Yeah, we got supervision walking around, talking to small group of people, telling the leads that they're going to lose their lead pay if the union comes in.
And what's your response to that?
Would you vote for that in your first contract?
Correct.
Thank you. And what do you mean, Garrett? What do you mean would they vote for that?
Because everything in your contract has to be negotiated between your party and the company. Everything's negotiable, and nothing is taken away the moment you begin that process of negotiation.
And we're not going to vote for that to go away.
Very good.
Because
Keep it.
Go ahead, Ed.
No, I would say that's very good. Keep it because it is negotiable. Depending on what you guys are asking for, it's something that DHL themselves, even though they may threaten you guys, they don't want that lead to go away. Because I gotta be honest with you, they really don't want to pay that much supervisors on the floor, because a lot of supervisors that run DHL, they truly don't have the knowledge that the leads have to run the floor. And that's something that DHL themselves will get paranoid in, because to them, it's a loss of money. Not to say that they don't lose money almost every day, but they gain it back. But to just foolishly lose money is not something they want. So, trust me when I tell you, when you guys negotiate, they're going to want leads more on the floor and less supervisors.
Thank you. Ed spoken from experience. He's a 24-year lead from LA. Ryan, you had your hand raised. You want to make a comment, brother?
Absolutely. And I was going to follow up with just what you just said. A lot of supervisors at CVG have been parading around also saying that other outstations don't have leads that are unionized. That is absolutely false. I have
That is
friends that
false.
work in Miami that are leads. I have 2 people I know that work out in LA that are leads. And if I'm not mistaken, JFK also has leads.
Yes, they do. JFK, Miami, and LAX. Yeah, I can confirm that.
Excellent. And I just want to get back to Garrett's point. And this is what everyone needs to think about. Every time you hear some kind of wild rumor about we're going to lose this or we're going to lose that when we form our union, you only lose if you vote to give something back. And for the 4 panelists here who just got done contract negotiations 3 months ago, what did any of you have to give back in your negotiations in this most lucrative contract you've ever gotten at DHL?
Zero
Nothing.
concessions.
Nothing. Yeah. Actually, we gained more.
Thank you. Zero
Absolutely.
concessions. DHL made $93.4 billion last year as a global entity. There's no reason for anyone to have to give back anything at all.
And they made that because of us.
Yes.
General President O'Brien said that very well. You make the money for DHL. You make DHL profitable through your professionalism. And that's for everyone on this call, particularly those at DHL CVG, because you have a lot of blockades and barriers in your way that these Teamster folks can't even imagine. But let's press on a little bit. So, quick question. With all these goodies that you guys have and the amazing pay package in your contract, you must be paying tens of thousands a year in dues, correct?
No.
No.
No, sir.
Oh, no.
Good response. And I just want to take a point of privilege for a minute for those that are on the call that don't know how our dues structures work. As Teamsters, our dues are 2.5 times 1 hour of your base pay once a month. We legally cannot charge you 1 penny in dues until your contract that you and DHL agree is mutually binding for both sides. We do not charge 1 penny of initiation fees to any new group that's joining the Teamsters. That would be you. So think about this for half a second. If you're at the $20 an hour rate right now, that means your dues will be $50 a month when your contract is enforceable. If you get guaranteed raises for 4 years, if you're able to strip away that $1 an hour that DHL is charging you for a surcharge on your healthcare, that's going to equal a heck of a lot more than $50 a month. So as you heard these folks laugh on this call, what you get in return for your dues is so worth it. So with that, I'd like to talk about union representation for just a few minutes. At DHL CVG right now, you currently must go to HR whenever you have an issue at work. And this is not really a question per se, but can we have any volunteers from DHL CVG talk about any of their experiences with HR? And please, I don't want to get you in trouble. No names, just an example of what happened when you brought a topic to HR that needed to be addressed.
Yeah, it got ignored. I had the issue with the supervisor talking to people about leads losing their lead pay, and she knew I told somebody about it, and she ran up to HR and said I was going around telling people stories that she's not saying, and told them a whole different story. So they called me up about it, and I told them, no, this is exactly what she said. And I got names of people which they didn't care to hear. And then I went back up a few weeks later and wanted to hear her side of the story. And she just lied through her teeth about it. And they didn't want to hear anything about it. Nothing. They didn't care.
Silly question. What kind of notes and documentation did HR take during this meeting?
Well, when they called me up there about it, they wrote everything down. And then when I called the meeting, HR didn't write anything down, not a single word.
And thank you, Tim. And I'm sure there's 1,013 horror stories. I want to call on Amanda. She is a shop steward down in Dallas. Go ahead, sister.
HR is not your friend. They will never be your friend. They are here to protect the company from potential expensive legal lawsuits. They will literally sit there and yes you to death and then turn around and call that supervisor and kiki it up in the office about your complaint. They do not care. They don't care. I can't stress that enough.
Not a bit.
So, and Amanda, real fast, what is your track record in grievances?
I've only lost one out of 100. I've only been filing grievances for 8 years, but the only one I lost was to bargain it away for another shift. So honestly, these grievances are easy if you stick to the contract, because this is a legal binding contract. If the company breaks anything in it, it's grievable. And that's that.
Thank you. And for those that are viewing this or will watch it in the future that don't know what a shop steward is or their function, can I call on you for just a minute, Ed, just to give a brief explanation of a shop steward's roles, how we train you up and what you do on a daily basis?
So basically what we do as shop stewards out of LAX is we take, just like if you have a complaint against someone, we are the middleman. We act as what many consider as lawyers. We defend our employees, we defend our workers, anything that the company violates, and we grieve it, we're grieving it, right? Now, I want to add though, as far as HR, before we get too far, HR is a ghost, because you're never going to see HR unless you're actually, if it's a sexual harassment case or termination. Other than that, the grievances stay within the supervisors to the managers, and that's as far as it goes. Now, if it's something that can't be solved, then you guys will have what is known as a business agent that represents your local. When it gets to that point, your local business agent will come in, and they will then decide and to sit down with management, which would be the person in charge of the service station or the gateway. They will sit down with them and they will come to an agreement. And this is all involving without HR. You know, like I said, you will only see HR unless it gets to the point where something was violated so bad that an employee violated in the bargaining unit, or that the company did in the bargaining unit. But normally you won't see HR. And like I said, it's only those severe cases, which is I would say 100% rare, which would be sexual harassment, and that none of that even happens. So you're a stand-in, and you're to make sure that the company, like you guys saying CVG, you have supervisors that's harassing you, spreading rumors about you, they're tarnishing your names. They can't do that with a contract. Their lips are sealed. So I mean, as stand-ins, you are the management role for your local, and you get to sit across that table and hash it out, battle it out, come to an agreement, and everything works out in the end. And trust me, as long as everything is done grieving, because you got to pass this along to your employees. Do not be scared to grieve anything, because anything that they do not grieve, it just keeps escalating. They get away with it. And this is one of the things the company's going to tell you can't have, or this won't happen. Well, it can happen. They do something wrong, supervisor talks to you wrong, they're out of place, they're out of line, they're talking to you in a vulgar way, file a grievance. Guarantee it's going to stop. And it's going to stop from the first grievance. It won't even escalate and keep going on. But we got to pass it along to your employees that, yes, everything within the bargaining unit is grievable.
And thank you both for your service to your union and your coworkers. Daniel, you had something?
Yeah, we had a question that had come in from Diane about time off, sick leave, and vacation.
As we said before, everything is negotiable. I know as far as sick leave goes, and I do want to bring this up. First and foremost, for those of you in the outstations, do you guys know what an occurrence is?
No.
Okay, and I see some folks chuckling from CVG. This is a huge issue for workers at CVG, and I think I speak for the majority of workers there when I say that this is something that definitely needs to be addressed and put in stone in a strong Teamster binding contract. If they want to have an attendance policy, that's fine, provided it is agreed upon by the workers and DHL executives and management, and it is enforced equally across the entire workforce. I do think that also every worker at DHL CVG should be able to go to a computer or their ADP app or whatever and be able to see exactly how many occurrences they have and when they drop off. And I also think, like Ed and Amanda, the workers at DHL CVG need trained up shop stewards that know how to teach you how to file for FMLA when you or a family member is sick, so you will not be charged occurrences for using this program that works very well for all Americans, and you will not be penalized for that. I also think you guys need to have a choice. If you want to go to the nurse practitioner for a Band-Aid, fine. If your foot is dangling at the bottom of your leg, you may jump in your own car and go to the hospital for treatment before someone blocks you and tells you to get back to work. Rant over. Here's a question from a John on third ramp. This is for our CVG guys. I've had people try and tell me that we will lose vacation days if the union end. Anyone from CVG want to tackle that?
Yeah. I mean, that's not something I'm going to vote for, and that's not something I'm going to encourage anyone to vote for. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, anything we're going to get for the union, it's what we're going to fight for. It's not this third party coming in and doing it for us. It's what us and CVG are going to stand together, stand up, and just demand, because we make DHL a ton of money, and we deserve a lot better than we're getting.
Any other CVGers who would vote to give up their vacation days? Ryan, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I actually just replied to John Turner myself. Plain and simple, they can take anything away from us right now. That extra week of vacation that they gave us this year, that can go away. Just like they did away with the incentive for working your 6th day on Fridays and Sundays, that went away. With a contract, they cannot take anything unless we vote upon it. That is fact.
And let's talk about that for half a second. The Ramp and Tug campaign has been going on since March. The Sort campaign has been going full steam for about a month and a half to 2 months now. You have basically entered what we call status quo. So from here on out, DHL may not make wholesale changes to your pay, benefits, and working conditions. And once you win your election and are recognized as Teamsters, they can never do that without coming to you and bargaining. Am I lying? Anyone from the outstations here who are Teamsters?
No,
that's absolutely correct.
Tim Holland, you're a 35-year member. Am I lying about that?
No.
As the workers that make the record profits for DHL like you did in 2021 during the middle of the worst pandemic this nation has ever seen, don't you deserve to have that power, to have a say in what goes on in your day-to-day operations and in how you and your family can prosper and someday retire from what is a career job? I want to riff on that for half a second. Freddie, how many workers between your station and the South Jersey station there at PHL?
We have somewhere around 220 courier drivers.
220. You've been there 5 years. How many have left, just up and quit in that amount of time?
Zero.
You had what, 3
Zero.
leave, and why did they leave?
they left to collect pensions,
They retired with a
and all
pension.
guys with over 35 years each one.
They retired with dignity.
pretty
Tony,
good pension.
back. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Freddie.
No, I was going to say it was a pretty good pension. And by the way, can I touch on something real quick? When you mentioned vacations, I got a question from a CVG worker recently about not being able to take vacations during peak season. And he asked me how our situation is as union DHL workers. And I let him know that just this upcoming Christmas, we have 27 people off for that week. Just letting them know that's not a thing here at DHL, PHL, or any other union DHL station, that all 12 months out of the year, we're eligible to take a vacation. In seniority order, of course.
So since I'm a math geek, I'm going to go ahead and do the math for everybody. If there's 200 of you there and they allow 27 off during the Christmas break, that's 11%.
And we're
Get
about
it
15.
in writing.
That's below 15.
Yeah, that's below the 15 mark. So actually more could have been off that week.
That is absolutely awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Freddie. Got a real good question here. Want to kind of step to the side for a second because there's two parts to this. So Jeff asks, what is keeping us from having a union vote at CVG? Well, as far as the ramp and tug side goes, DHL. And I just want to explain that for half a minute. Matter of fact, some of your panelists, 4 of your panelists here actually hand delivered the authorization cards to the labor board in Cincinnati way back on September the 13th. We went to what is called an appropriate unit hearing, which typically takes half a day, 1 day in a really big campaign. DHL drug it out over a period of 3 days with over 700 pages of testimony, which is now being reviewed. So we will get to your election, which you should have already been through on the ramp and tug side. We don't have a crystal ball right now. It's in the hands of the labor board. It will probably be sometime in the new year. And as far as the sort goes, it's just a matter of the organizing team talking to enough of them so we can collect enough cards to file for an election. So maybe not for you, Jeff, but for those who are watching, the quicker you bring your coworkers to talk with us and to get their questions answered like we're doing tonight, the quicker we will get you an election and the quicker you will get to your bargaining table. And I apologize, I'm scrolling through these questions right now. There was one here, can we do away with the blackout period for vacation? I think Freddie did an excellent job of answering that. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and talk about safety for half a second. For the CVG workers, particularly, no, this is for everybody, including in the sort center. Are workers adequately trained when they are thrown into the jobs that they're asked to do on a daily basis?
Absolutely not. Not on the ramp, at least.
Tug either. They get released way too early.
That sounds about right.
Inadequate from my experience.
That's
Sounds
dangerous.
it's very dangerous. And I'd like to call on, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's a tactic that they do all the time. And this is why you guys are going to need representation, because they do this because they want to be able to have the control to hire and fire. You know, that's basically what it comes down to. And, you know, without a contract, they're going to continue to do this. But if you guys get this contract in there, you know, it's going to be hard for them to hire and fire. You know, with our contract, the only people that fire themselves is the employees. And that's just doing something out of order. But normally no one is going to do that. And the company right now, yeah, they're not training. They just want to throw guys out there, throw women out there, let someone get hurt, whatever, it doesn't work out. You guys are at will. They can easily, within the guidelines of whatever the state law is, just let you guys go. And I mean, it's a tactic that they're playing with. But you know, you guys get a contract in there. All that goes out the door because now they're sending their DHL safety teams to train to make sure things doesn't go upside down with the company. And you know, at LAX, we're actually counting the days of when CVG, because you guys are the mother hub, and you know we're counting on the days when you guys can become unionized. With JFK, Miami, we're all waiting. We're all waiting. Texas as well. Thank you.
It's coming, brother. Thank you. And silly question for the union DHL workers here. If there's a piece of equipment that needs some work, do you have a right of refusal to operate that equipment?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sorry for the CVG workers. Is that the same for you?
I believe that's
No.
written in stone at all.
Yeah, I mean, they'll tell us, you know, hey, don't use it. But when it comes time to getting that black time, getting that plane out when it's due out, you know, you're expected to use whatever there is. They'll say, oh, no, if it's broken, call maintenance, don't use it. The problem is I have no way to contact maintenance. I've got to go through a supervisor or a manager to get a hold of maintenance. And if the plane goes out late, you know, being a lead, it's on me. So
I just want to take a point of privilege for a minute. Heard from 3 or 4 different workers a couple of weeks ago. There was a crew van that had no headlights on third shift. And they were told, and I quote, to turn their flashers on and drive that around the ramp for the rest of the night.
Wow.
Don't do it. Because if you get in a wreck, if you run somebody over, is that member of management going to say, yes, I told that lead or that worker to go ahead and drive that?
Absolutely not.
Don't do it, folks. It is not worth your safety. It is not worth someone else's safety. There was a good question on here that Fightmaster, I saw you wanted to answer that disappeared.
Yeah, I can find you.
It was basically
I
talking about
typed
that
an answer to.
if DHL, and Steve, I'm just going to go kind of ahead and paraphrase it unless you remember it. It was basically, go ahead.
Yeah, I got it. You know, it's basically about, you know, why wouldn't they just replace us with low wage non-union workers? That's the beauty of the contract, right? We become just cause employees once we're under contract right now. Right now we're not. We're at will employees. They can fire us for any reason or no reason at all. Under a contract, we're just cause. We have to go through a progressive disciplinary process before we're terminated. So they can't just, you know, once we're under contract, they can't just say, well, that's fine. We're just going to replace you with, you know, low wage non-union workers. It's just not going to happen.
And if the question was, just a second, Amanda, I see it. If the question was kind of geared towards, can DHL afford to pay you like they're paying folks elsewhere? I want to throw another number out here at you that is factual. In the United States, there are approximately 10,000 workers in DHL. 6,000 of them are Teamsters that are making the wages that the question was phrased about. It's not going to break DHL's bank to pay you what you are worth. And you are worth every penny of what you will receive in your first, second, third, and fourth contracts and beyond until you retire from DHL with dignity. Don't let anyone tell you you're not. You safely move that frame from point A through DHL CVG to where it's going every single day without fail. I'm sorry, Amanda, go ahead, sister.
No, you're good. The one thing that I love that it's in our operation supplemental, it's in our contract. We have a survival of prior disciplinary action for future use. So pretty much what that means is even if you've been written up and say you've even been suspended, if it's past a certain time frame, they cannot use those against you for future references. And after 30 days, one of those prior incidents falls off automatically. The contracts are so interesting. You can literally put anything in them to save you, protect you, keep you from getting fired. Now, here's the main thing I need to stress. DHL can fire you for anything, but having that contract keeps you from staying fired. That is the beautiful thing. When you have a union job, it's the only place where you can sit in the break room and talk about how many times you've been suspended or fired. And though that's not braggable, it's still possible. Just food for thought.
And
That is
it
awesome. Thank you. Go ahead, Ed.
no, I'm saying it goes back to one of those things. It's rare, and like I said, you'd have to really violate something so bad that it's just not possible for you to come back. And like I said, that's really rare. But we have had some incidents. We've had employees hit aircrafts and been able to come back. So, I mean, it really all depends on the severity of the situation.
And those would be the cardinal sins, the cardinal infractions.
Hey, Scott, we got a question about the vote and from Jeff, and he's saying, what is keeping us from having our union vote at CVG, and what would be a realistic timeline for when we would be voting?
So yeah, that's what I was just talking about a few minutes ago. As I said, we can't put a crystal ball on it. The ramp and tug should have already been through their election, or it should be coming up any day now. Unfortunately, it's been delayed. But that's okay, because this gives you more time to talk with your coworkers, to show them this video. By the way, it's going to be on the Facebook page for eternity, and we're going to chop this down into little topics and periodically float them out there on Facebook so folks can go and show their coworkers a quick answer to a question, a quick factual answer to a question. So if I was a bet man, I would say the ramp and tug election should be taking place sometime in January or February. As I said before, with the sort, it's the pace that you workers set for yourselves. The quicker you bring folks to talk to us, just like we did with the ramp and tug. We've met workers in Starbucks, in McDonald's, at gas stations, in their homes, at the hotel where a lot of our my coworkers stay at. Anywhere, any time of day. That is no kidding. We will meet someone at 2 a.m. if that's what it takes to have a quick conversation. 15 or 20 minutes of your time is all we need to explain, just like we're doing here, what we call the union difference. Because I don't think there's a person viewing this that could honestly say workers at DHL CVG are doing better than DHL Teamsters.
No, not even close.
No, not close.
So here's a good one I haven't heard anyone bring up yet. How can we combat the rampant favoritism that occurs at DHL CVG?
Vote in the union.
And what would that entail, Tim?
Getting people to sign the cards, get on board, get the vote going, because seniority should matter, but it doesn't out there. They just do what they want, favoritism, who they like. And with the union in there, that won't happen.
And that's what it's all about. It's about enforcing seniority and qualifications in any bid process, be it for a vacancy, be it for a shift bid, be it for a promotion to a lead position. In the union world, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, isn't that how things are done out there, is by seniority and qualifications per the contract?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Should be no different at DHL CVG whatsoever. I'm sorry, I'm just reading through questions. Workers are being hired in making more at CVG than workers who have been there for years. How can this be covered in a contract?
Seniority.
Seniority and what else? What do the union workers have, as we talked at the very top of this, that you don't at CVG? Do you guys have a pay scale at CVG?
No.
No. Do you have guaranteed raises at CVG?
No.
No.
We have nothing.
You have the promise of a raise every
Yeah.
April and October.
Yeah,
What
that
happened last year when the Bengals were in the Super Bowl, since that's in the backyard for a lot of you folks?
They
Promises
suck.
made and not kept?
Yes.
I hope everyone sees a real, right here in your face difference between having a contract and having promises, because promises are made to be broken, period. Ryan, you have your hand raised, brother?
Yeah, just to follow up on that, I've been at DHL for 4 years. If I didn't have my lead spot, I'd be making as much as a new hire.
Yeah. Shame.
And for anyone who is new watching this, please understand, no one is upset that you are making money. It's just that in a union world, seniority is everything. And as you've heard, it takes 2 years before you're making the same as someone who's been there for 24 in the outstations. That's fair. So just riff on that while I'm looking through this. So how many years does it take to top out at CVG? Does anyone know? Has anyone ever done it?
If I'm wrong, anyone, but it's 7 or 9 years if you follow the 45-cent 6-month raise structure.
Is there a pay scale posted anywhere where you could point and look and say, this is where I'm at on the scale?
No.
Anyone want to guess why that is? Same way why you can't see your occurrences?
I mean, it gives DHL the control, right? Like, I've been there for what, almost 4 scheduled raises. I haven't gotten a single one since I've been hired.
Yeah, I got one.
Like,
Wow. You know, the best part of having a contract, you don't have to wear in the company. It's automatic. Once you guys get negotiated, you get those raises in there, it's automatic. And if it doesn't come through, you file your complaints and then it'll make sure it gets through.
Well said, brother. Thank you. And full disclosure, we had an hour to do this, so we have about 9 more minutes to go. For questions that went unanswered, we will be posting answers to those. No, we're not going to put your name up there on the DHL Workers United Facebook page.
Can I just add something for the CVG workers before we get off?
Please.
Whether you guys know it or not, DHL is not going to shut down Cincinnati. They shut down, and I'm going to speak from experience, Scott. Wilmington was shut down because when DHL inherited the old ABX airborne situation, they were losing millions of dollars. We even had a hub out here in Riverside, California. They shut that place down because they were also losing money. When they were building Cincinnati up, it was to be the final. It is the final. They don't want to lose Cincinnati because Cincinnati's become the middle for international and domestic. So employees that are at DHL that wants to be union, go out, speak to the employees, get them to know there's nothing to be afraid of. Like Scott said, it doesn't matter if it's 15 minutes, 2 a.m. in the morning, whatever. We went through the same thing, groups here, groups there. So they're going to send their union busters out to scare you guys. They're going to send the supervisors out to scare you guys. Don't be scared. Talk to employees. Get the employees that's unsure. Get them involved. Let them understand what it is they're going to experience, because the company's going to come after you guys. But I can guarantee you, DHL themselves would prefer you guys are unionized, because that way they're guaranteed to know that you guys won't walk out on them. And they have come to us in the past, even with the pandemic. They were worried we were going to walk out, and they said, hey, can you guys make sure your employees come to work? Of course, employees going to come to work. They're getting paid and they don't have any issues, any problems with the contracts. So just get it out there that all the employees that's worried, that's scared that, oh, they're going to backlash on them, they're going to come after us. No, they're not going to do all that. They really want you guys to be a union because it works in their favor.
And just one quick correction, Ed. No, they are not going to be bringing union busters in here. And these 6,000 Teamsters nationwide are the reason why they're not going to violate that neutrality agreement. I'll give them credit. They have towed the line, but they haven't done anything real egregious just yet. It's basically been a whisper campaign. And that's why we addressed a couple rumors earlier. because you're going to hear rumors out there.
Yeah.
You're not going to hear solutions. This is where you come to get solutions. We deal in facts, not fiction. We deal in contracts, not promises. That's the two best comparisons you will ever get between DHL CVG and Teamster represented DHL sites. It's locked in stone. They have a contract. One more question I want to throw out there. We're down to about 5 minutes. Can we negotiate language that covers our breaks, meal periods, as well as a guarantee of hours?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Tony Baxley, how many hours are you guaranteed if you show up for work?
Right now we're on 410, so I'm guaranteed 10 the moment I clock in.
Freddie?
We're on a 5-day work week and we're guaranteed 9 as soon as we clock in.
9, nice. Amanda?
We have both an 8x5 or a 4x10. But if we get called in on a shift that we're not scheduled, we're guaranteed 6, whether we work it or not.
Ed?
Guaranteed 8, but we're also guaranteed overtime if it's there.
Thank you. And for those of you working the sort, I understand, you know, a lot of times 6 is about all you're going to get. Nothing is impossible when you get to that bargaining table. You want 8, stand up and fight for 8, because I'm pretty confident the workers out on Ramp and Tug are going to be standing up and fighting for 8 because they typically do get a 40-hour work week.
I want to say something about us not getting our breaks. We used to only get one 15-minute break. And that was like, we go in at midnight, we get one at 1:45, and then we can get another one at 5 after sort is over, 5:30. Sometimes they don't let us go, and we're out of there about 6:30. It's not fair for us not getting a break because we're all tired, wore out. You know, we're going to wind up hurting ourselves if we keep it up like this.
And that's why governments mandate that you get breaks. I'm not an expert on labor law in the state of Kentucky, but we are going to look into this issue, especially when it is time to go to the bargaining table, because we have heard some horror stories about how you have to go about asking for a break, particularly in the sort area. So these are all issues. As I said before, everything under the sun is negotiable once you get to the table. Please fill out your card. Please have a conversation with one of us organizers, and let's get you to that bargaining table. Bill, if I can call on you real fast, can you put up that flyer that has the QR code at the bottom, sir? So I'm hoping everyone that is watching this, or especially if you're watching this in the future, has seen this flyer or another one that looks like it. I want to point you to the bottom where the little green box is. That QR code takes you directly to a digital authorization card that is the vehicle needed to get you to your election, through your election, and to the bargaining table. So please take a second, put your phone on that, fill it out completely. If you see a red dot next to a box, that means that that box needs to be filled out completely. If you would like to speak with a union organizer, there are 2 numbers down there at the bottom. It does say Ramp and Tug next to one and Sort next to the other. You can call either for either. It does not matter. We are all here to help you do better. And by the way, I think we've covered just about all of these topics on this call tonight. This is all fact. As I said before, we only deal in facts. Can you take that down, please, Bill?
All right.
All right, so we do have a bunch of questions left here. It's going to be an hour here in 2 minutes. I apologize we didn't get to all the questions, but we covered a lot of good topics. I hope you got the answers you were looking for. Do not be bashful. As I said, you may call those 2 numbers at the bottom at any time of day, particularly that one on the right. But if we don't answer, we will get back to you as quickly as we can. And that's not an HR way of blowing you off. And please put us to the test. We are here to help you do better. This is our passion. This is how we continue to grow our union. And 6,000 Teamsters at DHL is nice. They just got the most lucrative contract ever this past summer. Imagine what you can do if there's 7,000 of you, or 8,000, or 10,000 once CVG is all in.
Yes,
Mhm. Yes, sir.
we got to get, period.
That's the goal. So if you're already a card signer and a supporter, tag you're it. Spread the message to someone else who needs to hear it, because that is how you form your union. It's workers talking with coworkers. There should be no fear of reprisal whatsoever. Do your job the way you were trained to do your job. Talk with your coworkers about how much better life can be, as you've heard from these folks on here. I don't know if this is going to be the last one of these we do, but if you would like to see more of these or in a different format, please reach out and let us know. I hope everyone is aware of DHL Workers United on the Facebook page. We also put a lot of good content up on YouTube. So thank you all for your time tonight. Please stay safe out there. Please stay diligent and talk with your coworkers. It's time for the workers at DHL CVG to do better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.